Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations. This is And I Quote, a weekly show where we introduce you to some of the best creators from all over the world, and we find out more about them by taking your questions. I am your host, Ryan, of And I Quote channel, and our guest on this episode is indie author extraordinaire Martin Parece is here. How you doing, good sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we're very thankful to have you here. We're also thankful to have you here, maybe watching or listening to this program right now. Do not forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends if you're joining us live or on a replay. Thank you so much for doing so. If you have any questions for our guest of honor, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. More than happy to take those as they come in respectively. With all that out of the way, Martin, what would you say were some of your favorite books or writers growing up as a youngling?
So I grew up on classic adventure, fantasy, and science fiction. Take my glasses off, got a really bad glare there. I grew up on Robert E. Howard. For example, the creator of Conan, who's really, Robert E. Howard is the godfather of fantasy. He really invented the modern fantasy genre. But I grew up reading his original Conan stories. And while my friends, especially in middle school, junior high, 6th, 7th grade, were reading Lord of the Rings, I was reading Conan. Edgar Rice Burroughs, the John Carter of Mars books were big for me. Tarzan, to a lesser extent, I really enjoyed John Carter. And H.P. Lovecraft. I discovered H.P. Lovecraft when I was 13. And H.P. Lovecraft was my gateway into horror. It was from him that I got into Stephen King and Dean Koontz. And not saying I didn't read things like Lord of the Rings, I did, but those books didn't quite grab me as much as the action adventure, blood-soaked barbarian, roaming sandaled through ancient Hyboria. So that's a lot of what I came up on. And I read some other stuff. I read a smattering of Star Trek and Star Wars novels, other old sci-fi, not old, I'm sorry, classic sci-fi, Philip K. Dick, Isaac Asimov, stuff like that.
Good options there, man. Good options for sure. I actually do have The Coming of Conan the Cimmerian, volume 1 for Robert E. Howard. I haven't read it yet. Sorry, folks. I'm a little behind the times here. TBR list is out of control. Sue me. But I do plan on reading it because I talked to some friends of mine in a Discord that we're in, and I said, what's a good place to start with sword and sorcery? Got to go to the original. You got to go to Robert E. Howard.
Yeah.
I said, okay, all right, I got you. But he also wrote, and I've actually read some of the comics based on this character. I've read Solomon Kane.
Mm-hmm.
And Solomon Kane is freaking awesome.
Solomon Kane is awesome.
I really like that character. And not only that, I thought the book to movie adaptation with James Purefoy from 2010
was solid.
Was freaking amazing and criminally underrated. The only reason I found out about that movie even existed was because it was in a film class I was taking in college at one point. And my professor said, hey, I want to talk about some of these book to movie adaptations. And we're going to start with this one. And it just happens to be called Solomon Kane, which is based on a character written by Robert E. Howard, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Hour 45, 2 hours later, when the movie was over, I thought, oh my Lord, this is awesome. And I know this guy because James Purefoy has been in so many other things. It's somewhat, he's had one of those faces where you can't really remember his name, but you've seen the face. It's like, oh,
absolutely.
Yeah, he's done so much, right? So Solomon Kane is a really good movie, and I wish it would have continued, but unfortunately, with how Hollywood is a business, it doesn't make $1 billion. It's not going to get any sequels, which is unfortunate because the movie bombed at the box office, didn't get any critical acclaim, barely got any audience acclaim. But when you look back on it, I think to a certain extent, it's starting to develop a cult following, maybe.
Oh, no doubt. It's funny because I had no idea Solomon Kane, the movie adaptation, existed either, and I don't even remember how I found it. I was because James Purefoy, since you mentioned him, was in John Carter of Mars, another movie that bombed. And I think I was on IMDb just looking at John Carter, and I saw Pure for Wind. I think I clicked into him, and I just saw it on his credit list, and I was like, what? Stop everything. Where do I get this? And of course, it's on streaming. Thank God and technology for streaming. So many movies that should have faded into darkness that have been found by people. But Solomon Kane was a wonderful character that Howard created.
So yeah, if anyone gets a chance to check out the comic books or the book to movie adaptation known as Solomon Kane with James Purefoy and Company, definitely check it. And yes, it's streaming everywhere at this point. Pluto, Tubi, Freevee. It's streaming for free on Roku. If you have a Roku box or Roku, what do you call it? A Roku Smart TV. Just stream it. You're gonna like the way you look.
Yeah.
That movie, I guarantee it. With wonderful stuff. So outside of the Solomon Kane book to movie adaptation, what are some of your other favorite book to movie adaptations?
That's a very long I mean, obviously, yeah, I mean, I could go on and on. Obviously I with a grain of salt, or maybe depending on your lens, I love the Conan the Barbarian adaptation with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's different. It's a different story. It was written by Oliver Stone and John Milius, and they both clearly knew the lore and the original stories, and they included elements into it that would make people who really know the stories go, oh, cool, gasp, Easter egg. But it is a different story. Of course, Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings movies were just unmatched, in terms of the way those were done. There's a few differences, obviously, but nothing anyone's really going to argue about too much. And those movies are just so incredible and epic. The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, which of course is a remake of The Thing from Outer Space from the 50s, but was an adaptation of John Campbell short story. Of course, Carpenter took it to a level that no one can touch, right? Just an absolute epic space. Movies were definitely a big part of my childhood. I was fortunate to grow up in the 80s and 90s when movies were absolutely incredible and fantastic and not CGI, and it was really about the storytelling. So, I watched a lot of movies when I was very young that I wouldn't let my kids watch at the age I watched them at, if that makes sense. But yeah.
Yeah, it totally makes sense because, I watched some movies that were made in the 80s and the 90s, and I grew up in the 90s. I was born in the late 80s, raised in the 90s. Sorry, I'm dating myself. I'm very old. But I got away with watching some movies I probably shouldn't have at the age of 10 or 11. But hey, the movie's there and you're enjoying it. Just let it ride.
Yeah.
Just let it ride. Just smile and wave, boys. Smile
right.
and wave. That's right. Yeah. So there's another reference for you for this evening. Feel free to let us know your favorites in the comments down below. Right. When did you start writing?
I guess the pretentious answer would be I've always written, or maybe the simple answer. I remember writing stories when I was in 3rd, 4th grade, and they were obviously, they were the stories of a 3rd grader, and they were very derivative and stuff like that. But I don't remember any of those stories, but I do remember writing them. When I really got into storytelling was when I started getting a little bit older, maybe around 12, but not in the form of writing, but in the form of being, a dungeon master playing D&D. And that was what was great about that was at that time there were so many TSR products out, and there were so many adventures that you could buy and read through and learn to tell those stories. And then after reading so many of those and figuring out how they were constructed, you started to construct your own. I carried that on. I don't do a lot of gaming anymore, but I've carried that on in the gaming I still do, from the standpoint that I focus much more on storytelling than I do on mechanics and rules, because that's what's more important. It's bringing the story to life. But I published my first novel, maybe a more concrete answer is I published my first novel in 2011. and that was Blood and Steel, Core Chronicles Volume 1, which was it's a very old school golden era sword and sorcery action adventure tale. And there were 4 more books that are in that series, 2 spin-offs, and it just kind of continued from there.
Boy, man, just put your foot down, hit the ground running.
Yeah.
Took no prisoners. That's for sure. What else is not taking any prisoners is this episode of And I Quote. Don't forget to like and share. If you have any questions for our guest of honor, Martin Parise, let us know in those comments. Let us know in the chat. What are some of the rewards about being a writer?
Late nights, early mornings, burnout, lots of coffee. Oh wait, rewards. I'm sorry. It's and anyone who, especially an indie author and and maybe even some non-indie authors, but there are times when you start to really wonder why I do all this, because why do I put all this time in? Because writing a novel is a lot of work. And if you're indie, you've got to edit it. You don't have a team of people that does that stuff for you. And it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Maybe not literally, though, sometimes if you get a paper cut, I don't know. But the biggest reward, and I can't tell you how much it means when this happens, is when you're at a live event, like I do a lot of shows and cons, and someone sees you and they get this big look in their eyes and they come running over and go, "Oh my God, you've got book 2? I bought book 1 from you last year. I loved this. This was fantastic." And they buy book 2, or they buy other books or whatever. When someone reaches out to you, reviews and all that mean a ton, and it makes you feel really good. But when you actually get someone who reaches out to you or seeks you out in person to tell you how much they love what you wrote, that's the biggest reward right there. You cannot match that feeling, because you get to finally feel validated. I created something that somebody loved, even if it's only one person. Somebody loved this, and that's what, for me, that's a lot of what it's all about, honestly.
Oh yeah, man. Bright stars in their eyes, waking up on Christmas. Yeah, it's like they woke up on Christmas morning and realized, oh, greatest gift ever is this book.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Hey, we're in the holiday season, so if you're looking for ideas, check out those links in the description down below and all that kind of jazziness. Just saying. All we gotta do is take a look. It's in a book. See what I did there? There you go. There's a throwback to something or other. Great program it was. That's for darn sure. Opposite side of the fence, though. What are some of the challenges about being a writer, other than the loss of sleep?
The challenge, one of the biggest challenges is what we know as imposter syndrome. The question of whether or not what I'm doing is even any good. I am 45,000 words into this novel and I'm halfway through. And is this even any good? Does it even compare to anything anyone else is writing or anything I've written or what have you? That's probably the biggest one. At least it is for me. I'm constantly questioning myself in that regard. And then the other challenges are many and complex, and they have to do with craft. Your characterization is everything. No one wants to read a story with bad characters that just fall flat. Am I really getting across who these people are and what they are dealing with? Is my description adequate to really bring home what I'm trying to do in this scene without being too wordy? Editing. Oh my gosh. Editing is the worst thing on the planet, because you just read through your novel 7 times and maybe 8, maybe 9, and you ran it through all this software and you published the damn thing. And then the first review is, I found a typo on page 47. It's like, so the challenges could, listing off the challenges could take all night, honestly. But the biggest challenge is the imposter syndrome, and maybe the second biggest challenge, maybe the first for some people, depends, is the sitting down and actually getting it done, making yourself do it. Because no one's going to do it if you don't. I mean, it's just that simple, you know. It's so easy to get on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, or, you know, I'm going to watch Aliens for the 577th time because it's one of my favorite movies, or what. It's so much easier to do all that than it is to actually sit down and write. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. We would be here all night if we were going to list the challenges. We do coffee.
Yeah.
There's a coffee over here in aisle 2. No, I'm just kidding. No, but I hear what you're saying though, man. Yeah, the editing is just, it's the last thing any of us want to do, but it's part of the job. It's part of the business. So
Yeah.
roll with the punches, I suppose.
What's that?
Roll with the punches, I suppose.
Oh yeah. But you have to do it because there's a lot of people out there that they will their immersion in your story will get ruined by poor editing. Yeah.
Just scary stuff. Jessica's here. She says, I'm sorry I'm late, but I'm here. Jessica, great to see you. Thanks for being here. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments, let us know in the chat. Appreciate the 100% you're giving us, the quality of the show, because we are at 100%. We're kicking tail and taking names. So thank you, Jessica. Jessica. With that being said, what advice would you give to aspiring writers out there?
Oh, wow. Where do I
$2 million
start?
question.
Yeah. All right. Couple pieces of advice. Number one is just keep writing. Just keep doing it. You wake up today, you don't feel good, you've got a head cold, you're tired, you worked a 12-hour shift yesterday, whatever it is. Just sit down and write. Even if you only write 400 words, at least just keep it moving. Even if you write 400 words that are pure trash, and tomorrow you look at it and go, oh God, and you just delete that. I once sat down, wrote 1900 words, and then went back and read it the next day and said, this is awful, and literally killed it. But keep writing, and you have to keep writing. The reason you have to keep writing is just like anything else. It's just like learning a skill. It's just like learning a musical instrument. You only get better the more you do it. You only get better the more you do it. The first thing all of us wrote was trash, as a rule. Okay, not everybody, but most of us. I look back at some of my stuff I wrote 10 years ago and look at what I'm writing now, and the quality difference is immense. Not to say that the stuff I wrote back in the day is bad. It's not. But continuing to write will continue to improve. It's just like doing anything else. It's like lifting weights. It just, the more reps you get, the better at it you get. Another big piece of advice is, and this is a big one for me, and this is something that I've always done, but I have never really realized it, and I've only taken it to the nth level in the last 4 or 5 years. Write cinematically. Okay. Write like you're writing, like you're seeing a movie, and put it on the page. See the movie in your head, the scene you're writing, the way the characters move, the way they act, the room, the dust motes in the air when the sunlight comes through, whatever it is. Imagine it as a movie and write that, because your stories become so immersive at that point, so incredibly interesting, that people just get sucked into it. And then the third biggest piece of advice I'd give, and this is something that I only personally have come to realize, and it's funny because one of my favorite authors did it from day one, and that is become your characters. Okay. Robert E. Howard, it is well known, became his characters as he wrote. Because he didn't just write Conan, he wrote Solomon Kane, he wrote stories about boxers, he wrote westerns, he wrote a lot of historical fantasy, which are fantastic stories that took place in our world in the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, stuff like that. But he always became his characters. And that's why his characters have stuck with us for 100 years. And that's why we believe Conan the Barbarian is real. That's why we believe Solomon Kane is real. And when an author really does that, their characters turn into something different. They become real in the reader's mind.
My goodness, the more you know. Very powerful stuff. No, it's funny man, because I grew up more so than anything else watching movies.
Yeah.
I didn't start reading books freehand, because you had to read stuff for school, but that doesn't count.
Yeah,
You're made to do it. You have to do it. You have to write those book reports. You got to write those research papers. You get
Sure.
all that nonsense.
And if you're lucky, you find something that you had to read that you liked, but oftentimes you didn't.
I think I'll be honest with you. Like, I think the only two things I remotely really enjoyed when I was younger, in school and had to write papers for, respectively, was a book report on the novelization of the movie Finding Forrester with Sean Connery, which is a great movie about writing, by the way.
It is.
Finding Forrester. It's beautiful stuff. And then the second thing was writing a report on Charles Dickens' masterpiece, Great Expectations. So, which is probably the reason why Great Expectations is one of my favorite classic, literary novels, or classic novels.
Yeah.
So there is that. Thank you, Charles Dickens. You're the man. So yeah, those are the only two things I really liked when I was in school. But then, I didn't start really reading, freehand, whatever, freestyle, until, so, what was it? Probably 5 years ago? I think it was 5 years ago, right before lockdown. Jeez, wow, that was a blur.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, and look where we are today. I've read some great books by great independent authors and publishers. Indie is where it's at, folks, because it's awesome sauce and they're the most creative people in the business. But that's just my 2 cents. These are the facts of the case, and they are undisputed. With that being said, great piece of advice. There is no doubt about that. Absolutely no doubt about that. So in case anyone's wondering, because I want to share something with you who may be watching or listening to this stuff at your own home. This one right here, Bound by Flame, the Chronicle of Thys, if I'm saying that right?
Correct.
Wow. Okay, man, I get to keep my job tomorrow, fellas. Bound by Flame. How did this story come about? And for someone who's unfamiliar, what is it?
So, Bound by Flame is actually a prequel story. It is a standalone novel. Thys is a character from the Core Chronicles. She pops up towards the end of the first book, Blood and Steel. And so she's a supporting character. She's obviously not the main character, but she becomes an extremely important character that follows, I don't want to say follows, I'm sorry, flows through the books with our main character all the way to the end of book 5. And I had a lot of readers of the Core Chronicles who always asked me when she was getting her own story, because we meet her later in life. And so this goes back to Thys very young in her early 20s. And it's the story of who she was when she was young. She's the daughter of a king. She is chosen by the fire god Hycan, which means that she has fire powers, elemental powers. She wields all elemental powers, but fire is her patron power, if that makes sense. And this is a story of her defying her father, who has arranged a marriage with a competing king to increase his power, and going her own way. And it's a very violent story. It turns into a story of revenge, but also growth. This is a very strong-willed individual, and she's a lot of fun to write. And she's very chaotic in a lot of ways, as you would argue fire is. And she at this point in her life, she is very confident in her own abilities, and very much I don't need anybody else, no matter what. I don't need anybody else. And she has to learn to grow past that. And she learns through a very violent story, she learns that it is important to care about other people and that things are worth fighting for.
Man, that's hot. That's hot. No, I'm just unintended. Maybe not so much. Sorry, I want to be appropriate on this show, but still, looks like a badass cover. Fantastic stuff. Who does the covers for these books?
A couple different. I got a couple different artists. The Chronicle of This, Bound by Flame, and my first two Dragon Knight books, and a couple of the Core Chronicles covers were done by an artist up in Maine that I contracted. And then there's some of these covers are done by a cover company. I'm very selective on that. Not to get onto the soapbox, but I am very, very anti AI in creative spaces. So I have to make sure that when I reach out to somebody that they're not going to be using AI. And that's very important to me. This cover behind me, which is a little hard to see, but that's my horror collection. That cover was actually done by my daughter when she was just, I think, 18 years old. Did a wonderful skull with these black tentacles kind of coming out of the eyes and nose, and I've got a few different people, but cover is very important to me. A cover is very important.
I mean, they say never judge a book by a cover, but we do it anyway.
Everybody does, no matter what.
If you say that you don't, you're fooling yourself, folks. It's a fact, Jack. No,
Absolutely.
That cover looks badass, and at some point or another, I'm going to be picking up a copy of that bad boy. I want to read it. It sounds good. It sounds awesome sauce. Going along with that, because you mentioned it here, someone who's unfamiliar with Core Chronicles, look how sick this cover is. You got a sword and someone's head being severed, and a woman's got coming out of there. So Core Chronicles, how did this come about, and what is it?
So the Core Chronicles, how it came about was back in 2009. I was self-employed and my business was crashing around me in the recession. I had no customers. I had no income. I had nothing going on. I knew I wasn't going to be in business very long. And I was literally sitting in my store with nothing to do and no one to talk to. And I just started writing. It's a 5-book series that has 2 prequel stories for 2 different characters. And our main character, Cor Pelson, grows up in a nation called Aquis, which just to the east is an enemy nation called the Losian Empire. And it's a fantasy world, obviously, if you couldn't tell by the very blatant fantasy cover. Cor grows up in a very sheltered childhood in his early years, and things happen that he chooses to leave home. If you look at the cover kind of closely, you'll see that he is a very gray skin tone. So the gods in this world each selected a people to be their own. And for instance, the elemental gods chose the people of Dolkur, who we saw this a moment ago. So every god chose a different people and kind of imbued them with different powers. And we won't go into all that because you got to read the books to figure all that out and why. But there was one god named Dak, Dahk, who was the god of blood. And it is said that he fooled the other gods because he didn't choose his own people. Sometimes someone is born with the powers of the blood god, and they don't look like the rest of the people that they're born to. You know, obviously, we look like our parents. You know, skin color and hair and all that. They all tend to be gray skinned, described as the ashen pallor of a corpse. And they gain their prowess in combat as they're injured. When their blood is spilled, they become more powerful, and they heal as they harm their enemies. But the Cor Pelson, to our knowledge, is the only one in existence. And he has to navigate that. There's a little bit of a revenge story, but really all of the Core Chronicles, all 5 of them, the whole thing is a commentary on power dynamics. If you're interested in that side of it, if you just want to read it because it's a hack and slash, sword and sorcery, bloody good time, then hey, that's great. Because that's the way I wrote it, and then I realized after the fact that it's really a commentary on power dynamics.
There you go. That's not just see that cover in that storyline. That's not just Pepsi. That's Pepsi perfect. Damn, Pepsi, Pepsi. Anyway, it's the choice of a new generation. Hashtag not a sponsor of this show. That's a
right.
throwback to something else, isn't it?
Oh yeah, no
There's some good
doubt.
commercials too. Mm-hmm. Some
Yeah.
good stuff
Goes
there.
back to my childhood.
It does, doesn't it? We can rewind the tape. We can go back in time. You know, I mean, if Marty could do it, why not us? Maybe.
That's right.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. But no, that sounds really good, and congratulations on that series of books. It's that's fantastical stuff, man. And another example I'd like to share with you, and for those of you who are watching us here, the Oathbreaker's daughter. Yeah, there seems to be a bit of a pattern here with badass female characters. So, what exactly is the Oathbreaker's daughter, and how did that come about?
So let me speak to that real quick. The badass female characters, and then you got to look at who I grew up on. I grew up on Robert E. Howard. And while, don't get me wrong, people think of Conan, they think of this big, giant, buff guy and then some scantily clad chick hanging onto his leg. And to some extent, there is some of that. But Robert E. Howard wrote strong women. In the Conan novels, he had Belit, who is the Queen of the Black Coast, who was a pirate captain. And he wrote Valeria, who was a mercenary and a swords mistress of her own. And he wrote Red Sonja, who is not the Red Sonja we know today. The Red Sonja was a historical character that he inserted into the Siege of Vienna. I grew up on the Terminator, and I grew up on Alien and Aliens. I mean, you can't get a more badass female character than Ripley in Aliens. I mean, she's just freaking awesome. And so that probably impressed impressed upon me, I guess. The Oathbreaker's daughter, and it's a 3-book trilogy. Book 2 is out. Book 3, that's the Oathbreaker's Legacy, the Oathbreaker's Reckoning, I'm currently writing, and it'll be out next fall. The Oathbreaker's daughter is about a young woman named Jenna. She is 20 at the start of this book. Her father was a dragon knight in the nation of Abrea. There are 5 nations, and each nation has 25 dragons and dragon knights. And the dragon knights all take an oath when they become dragon knights, forsaking love, forsaking wife and children. And I say wife and children because they're all male. It is a known fact in this world that women are incapable of forming the link. Well, how, I just told you that she that men are, or women aren't allowed to be dragon knights, and dragon knights aren't allowed to have families because it distracts from the oath. So how did that come about? Well, there's more backstory there, but the net effect is her father did have a family, and when she was 4 years old, that was discovered, and he was taken away from her. And that's in the prologue, but she's known her whole life, for whatever reason, she's known her whole life she's meant to be a dragon knight. However, she can't be. And everyone tells her that. Her mother tells her that. There's a female, there's a woman in Abrea specifically. There's a woman order of warriors called the Protectresses. And one of the teacher in her village is a former protectress. She only has one arm. She's an older woman. She's in her 50s. And she tells her the same thing. Look, I'll teach you how to fight. She tells her, I'll teach you how to fight. Your mom can teach you how to shoot a bow as well as anybody. I'll teach you how to fight with a sword. I'll teach you how to fight. I'll help you train. But you can't be a dragon knight. And it starts off with a dragon knight dies, and it's announced across Abrea that there will be trials to see who gets the shot at being the next dragon knight. And everyone tells her, you can't do this because you're a girl, you're a woman, you can't do it. So she she Mulans it. She hides the fact that she's a girl, and she pretends to be like a mid-teens boy, and she goes to Highton, which is the city where they're having the trials, and she does very well until she's discovered. So, and then it just goes from there.
bro. I mean, these are some really intriguing stories, ladies and gentlemen. So fantastic. And Martin and I first met each other at Fright Reads Book Festival this
Yeah.
past year in 2025. And he and I were talking about some of these stories, and I bought a copy of both The Oathbreaker's Daughter and Blood and Steel, which I believe is part one of the Core Chronicles, if I'm not mistaken. Now, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I haven't read a single word of them yet, Martin. I'm so sorry because, like I said before, our TBR list is just out of control around here. It's horrible. I definitely apologize. Normally, I shouldn't be saying these kinds of things on the air. It's like, dude, don't tell your $1 million guests you haven't read their own novels yet. What are you, a fool? But look, I'm just trying to be honest. But it's not that I don't want to read. I have every intention of reading both books and getting a kick out of them. If not, more than likely, I'll read both, and then I'll buy Bound by Flame and read that.
That's a great story. It's a fun story.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't see that as a problem. I mean, it's going to add to my TBR homework, but still, I don't care. But congratulations on all this. It's fantastic. They all sound wonderful. I cannot wait to dive into the Oathbreaker's Daughter part 1 with that kind of deal. And then, Blood and Steel is just a great title for anything.
Right.
I mean, you hear Blood and Steel, I mean, all you got to do is just cue up the song and play the I am I, or
that's right.
Just play some Iron Man from Black Sabbath in the background, right?
That's right.
I don't know. Maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. What I know that does work is this has been a great episode thus far. Van Dyke quote, that is what works, folks. And if you like what you see and you want to see more, just subscribe to that channel, ring the bell to be notified when videos go up or they go live. If you have questions for the guest of honor known as Martin, who knows everything, Robert E. Howard, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. More than happy to take those as they come in respectively. Have there been any special memories for you from being at conventions or other events?
Oh, yeah.
That stand out?
Yeah, there's a few. One that really hit me was in GalaxyCon in March of this year. And there was it was day one. GalaxyCon Richmond went to 4 days, so we were on a Thursday, and we're just standing around. The aisles are empty. There's no one there. It's Thursday afternoon, and then this woman and her fiance, her boyfriend, come by, and they were looking at somebody's stuff across the way, and she just turned around and she saw The Oathbreaker's Daughter, and she saw I had it in hardcover, and that's her eyes got real wide, and she went, "You have it in hardcover?" And I said, "Yeah." And she comes running over. She goes, "I bought the paperback from you last year. I loved it." And she goes, "You've got book. Is this book 2?" And I said, "Yeah, it's book 2." And she bought book 1 and 2 from me, even though she already had book 1 in paperback. She bought book 1 and 2 in hardcover. And that just was such a great feel good thing. And I there's a number of those types of interactions I've had with people that I could recount. The one thing that I always take from every con or show I do is just the amount of talent that is out there in the indie world, authors and artists. There's so much indie art out there that is really amazing stuff, and these people are going out trying to make their own way. A hell of a lot of courage and dedication, and their stuff is incredible. The first GalaxyCon my wife and I went to as attendees, not as vendors or tabling, we spent $1,000 on art. It was just like, oh my God, what are we going to do with all this?
Yikes.
Yeah. And then one thing that I really take away from it is how supportive in general the indie world is of everybody else. And that's a great thing, because when you're an author, especially an indie author, it's really easy to look at other indie authors as competition, if that makes sense. If you're at a con, why did this customer buy this book from them, but they didn't buy mine? It's easy to fall into that pit of despair or whatever. But it isn't like that, or at least it usually isn't that way, and it shouldn't be that way, because everyone's trying to get to the same place. Everybody's just trying to produce their art and find people who love it and hopefully make a living doing it. You know, that's such a big thing. That's the end goal, right?
Yeah, it is. It certainly is. Great memories, man. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Yeah, I've been to GalaxyCon Richmond. I think it was one time. And then I've been to GalaxyCon Raleigh twice.
Yeah,
North
big
Kakalaki.
show.
Yeah,
Big
North
show.
Carolina, baby. Yeah, Raleigh knows how to partay. And they got some big name guests in the building.
Oh yeah,
Disney legends, pro wrestling legends.
GalaxyCon brings them.
I mean, dude, they must have a lot of coin in their back pocket, because the fact that they're able to get all these legendary wrestlers who have retired but still are willing to do shows. Some are, depending on who you meet, sometimes they're kinder than others. It depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
But when you get some voice acting legends, or, you get Jeff and Matt Hardy of the Hardy Boys, you get freaking Nature Boy, Ric Flair, woo, or, just all these names just floating in one building. I'm thinking to myself, how did we get so lucky as fans to be amongst all this greatest? Peter Cullen is standing right over there. That's Optimus Prime, man. Optimus Prime is standing right there.
Yeah, I didn't about Peter Cullen. I didn't realize Peter Cullen did the voice sound effects for the original Predator.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. I was amazed by that when I saw that.
That was wild.
Yeah. And it's funny you talk about that. There's a particular actor who is at almost all the GalaxyCons, and I'm not going to say his name.
Oh.
And I paid a lot of money for one of his autographs, and I didn't even see him. Like, it was this assembly line of the first person took my thing, the second person made sure I was paid, and then I got kicked out the other side, and there was my item signed, and I'm like, I didn't even get to talk to him. Meanwhile, in March last year at March this year in GalaxyCon, I got to meet John Carpenter. I mean, and that's just amazing. He's like one of my Mount Rushmore of directors, and he was cool. He was a really nice guy. My wife and daughter met James Marsters, who played Spike on Buffy.
And Brainiac on Smallville.
And he was the nicest guy. I got to meet oh gosh, I'm completely blanking out. Doctor Who, the 10th Doctor, after Eccleston, before Matt Smith, David Tennant.
Yeah.
I got to meet David Tennant. I got him to autograph a piece of art my daughter did of the TARDIS, and he was the nicest guy on the planet. I mean, it was so awesome to meet him.
Oh, that's spoilers. That's really cool, man. That's really cool. Yeah, GalaxyCon has had its fair share of good moments over the years, so there's no doubt. I met, I forget the gentleman's name, but forgive me, but Paige O'Hara, who was the voice of Belle, and I forget the gentleman's name, who was the voice of Gaston in the original Beauty and the Beast Disney animated classic that we all grew up on as kids in the 90s. What's up? She was so good. Paige actually took one look, because I was wearing my Indiana Jones cosplay that day, and she looked at me and she's like, "Where'd you get this hat? This is a wonderful hat." I said, I got it from Ad Vintage. and she was like, "Oh, that's a really nice hat. I got to get my husband one of these." I said,
cool.
Well, that's where I got it. So thank you for noticing. Like, you never know what a celebrity's going to say to you when you walk up to their table. But yeah, she was all over that. She was like, "That is a really nice hat. You look good in this outfit." I was like, "Oh, thanks." It's so good. I think it belongs in a museum or something. I mean, because Last Crusade is my favorite. So anytime I can drop some indie-isms in a conversation for good measure, I think that's a good day at the office, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
So in that case, Martin, he chose wisely. There you go. Or I have chosen wisely. There you go. That's right. That's what I probably should have said. But anyway, yeah, Comic-Cons they can be really good stuff, whether it's meeting big name people from Hollywood or, networking.
Oh, yeah.
Very, very important. Very, very good for me. Very, very good. So who is an author, living or dead, you want to have a conversation with? And I'm assuming it's going to be Robert E. Howard.
I mean, him or H.P. Lovecraft, to be sure. Yeah, those two are definite. Mary Shelley would be a big one.
Frankenstein, I believe.
Yeah. Mary Shelley, no matter what anybody says about Jules Verne, Mary Shelley invented science fiction with Frankenstein. Absolutely. Frankenstein is a gothic horror novel, but it's also a science fiction novel. And she invented science fiction.
Hmm.
70 years before Jules Verne.
Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was not aware of
So those would be amazing conversations to have. You just can't underscore enough. There's a few others that are kind of from the golden era
Hmm.
of fantasy writing from the
Oh, yeah.
50s, 60s, and 70s.
Sure.
L. Sprague de Camp, Lynn Carter, Glenn Cook. I'd love to talk to any of those guys for any period of time, because they're and I mean, shoot, I mean, God, the list could go on. Arthur C. Clarke,
Hmm.
Isaac Asimov.
Mhm.
Yeah, even though I'm more of a Philip K. Dick guy, that'd be awesome too. Philip K. Dick. I mean, it just the number of people that I'd love to sit down and talk to, and I love talking to authors, indie authors. I love
Mhm.
talking to
Mhm.
authors and just sharing our experiences and what makes us all tick, if that makes sense.
Oh, no, it totally does. It totally does. So, someone could just, it's got that gruff look on their face and they're sitting in their chair and they got their hands clasped together and they take one look at Martin Paris and they say, I need the old Blade Runner. I need your magic.
That's right.
And that would be Martin right there. He's the old Blade Runner. He's got the magic. He knows what he's doing. He's the Blade Runner.
Nice reference.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've seen both. I've seen both Blade Runner and Blade Runner 2049. Here's the sad thing about me. I did not really care for both films. I watched both from beginning to end, didn't stop. I kept it all the way to the end. And I thought, I'm sorry, but despite really good actors doing some interesting things, I was bored.
Mm.
To me, it just felt dry.
Blade Runner, the first one especially.
Because it has like 50 cuts.
Well, and if you watch the only version that I'll watch, which is a particular director's cut, it's the one I've got on DVD, obviously.
Oh, okay.
It's like 2 hours and 40 minutes. And it's not a fast moving movie. But it is it's an amazingly introspective film. Doing the thing that that science fiction always does best. Science fiction, what it does best is it makes us question what is humanity and what does it mean to be human. And when you have Blade Runner, you have a replicant who thinks she's a human being. And you've got all these other replicants, the ones that he sent out to kill. Rutger Hauer is a tour de force in that movie. But these replicants that he has to go kill that are only 4 years old and they're struggling with emerging emotions. They don't know how to process this. They're the machines that are literally struggling with the fact that they're having human emotions and they're becoming more and more human, not necessarily physically, but mentally, psychologically, spiritually. And they're fighting with that. And then you've got Deckard, played by Harrison Ford, who is at once both an overrated and an underrated actor, if that makes sense. We can talk more about that later, but I love Harrison Ford. I grew up on all this stuff. He is an old burned out cop, a Blade Runner, whose job is to hunt down and kill replicants, retire them. And he doesn't feel anything. He's very deadpan. He's very unfeeling about everything. There's a scene where he's talking to Rachel right after he's done his test on her, and he starts telling her about her own memories that were implanted, and he's cruel about it. He's cold and he's cruel. And Harrison Ford plays it beautifully. And then when he realizes that she's about to completely crack, he just goes, "Bad joke. I'm sorry. It's a bad joke. You're human. You're not a replicant. It was a bad joke." And he just doesn't care. And he's lost his humanity and he's struggling to find it. And he learns to be human again from someone who's not. And it's it's a really amazing story. Ridley Scott did something really incredible there, but it is not action packed and it is not a quick moving movie. It really isn't.
Yeah, just, in the words of Randy, it's a no for me, dog. It's a
No,
no.
that's all good. You like what you like. No
Yeah,
judgment
really.
here.
I mean, I'll watch New Hope, Empire, Return of the Jedi, but I'm not watching Blade Runner. It's never going to happen. I'm sorry. I just one and done is enough for me. Certain films you watch once, you never have to see them again. Here's another one. Case in point, Gone with the Wind. Watched it once in our theater. They re-released it. Solid time. Movie was over. I thought to myself, that is one of the most depressing movies I've ever seen in my career. I am never watching this ever.
And long-winded.
Yes, yes, it was. Frankly, my dear, I just don't give a damn. There
That's
you go.
right.
I know I kind of added some words there. I apologize, but still, it
close enough.
Yeah, it doesn't do it for me. It's a no for me, dog. It's a no for me, dog. Just don't work.
I get it.
And it's ironic too, because Gone with the Wind and Wizard of Oz came out the exact same year.
That's right.
And I'm thinking to myself, I would rather watch Judy Garland at the peak of her career in in Wizard of Oz compared to what they gave us in Gone with the Wind. I'm sorry. It's like it literally is night and day.
Yeah.
Judy Garland, God rest her soul, wonderful talent, wonderful singer, taken from this world too soon. And man, the behind the scenes stories that we heard.
Oh yeah,
that's messed up what Hollywood did to her. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. What is here is this great episode or educational or maybe even dark toned episode of what is it? Oh yeah, and I quote, don't forget to like and share. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. What is a book that belongs on everybody's bookshelf that is not one of your own?
Oh my gosh. Oh wow. Wow, that's a big one because I read a book a week and I've read so many books.
I wish I could do that.
Okay. If we're going to go, it depends on the genre, I guess. If we're going to go with horror, The Haunting of the Whispering House trilogy by L.C. Marino. Burn the Girls is the first one. Bless the Mother is the second one, and Banish the Dead is the third. When I finished the last book, I read it in 2 days. I was so into it, and when I read the last book, I literally closed it and set it on my nightstand. And I stared at the ceiling for an hour. But when I set it on my nightstand, I just murmured, man, I wish I could write like that. I mean, it just, Lucas, L.C. Marino, he blew me away. And I know him. I've met him. He's a wonderful man. He's got a bookstore in Williamsburg, Virginia. And, but they're a mid to late 20th century Gothic horror that takes place in James City County near Williamsburg, Virginia. And so it's rural Virginia Gothic horror, if such a thing exists. But his descriptions are so immersive. His twists were so fantastic. Stuff that as an author, especially in as many movies and books as I've read, I should have seen it coming and I didn't. And it was just phenomenal. So if you're into horror, I definitely have to go that route. Man, one of my favorites is Catch-22 by Joseph Heller, which I know is a big shift from everything we've talked about.
I was gonna say, wow, Owen Wilson, wow,
yeah,
the meatloaf. Yeah,
that's right. The Catch-22 is such a great story of military absurdism in World War II. And I hope this doesn't offend anybody, but if it does, take a step back and take a moment. Lamb by Christopher Moore.
I never heard of this.
Christopher Moore is a humorist / absurdist. He's written a ton of books and he's a bestseller. Lamb is the story of Jesus Christ, or the gospel of Jesus Christ as told by his best friend Biff.
Huh.
And it's ridiculous. Okay. It's ridiculous and it's hysterical. And it's important to understand that if you are a Christian, Christopher Moore is in no way saying that. In fact, he reinforces in the book that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. But it's this absurd story that takes place in the missing years of the Bible, where Jesus left home and he roamed the world and learned about other people in other places with his idiot best friend Biff. And it's a fantastic story because it forces us it forces us to laugh, and it forces us to consider that our viewpoint can be the right one while other people's viewpoints can also be right, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get it. It's understandable. And thank you for sharing that with us, because we learn something new every time we do one of these shows. And that's the beauty of interacting with all our different guests that we have here on set week after week after week after week after week. And I appreciate you saying all this, because I was going to say, wait a minute, where are we going? Because this could be an interesting turn. This can light up the comment section in one way or another. Now,
yeah, not trying to do that.
No. Just sharing what the synopsis is and what they're going for. So I get that. It's all good, brother. It's all good. Is Pepsi perfect? I thought I told you to stay in here. Anyway, sorry. I've watched so many movies growing up. The Back to the Future trilogy was certainly one of those series. So,
oh yeah, no doubt.
Honestly, you go to 2015, Shark still looks fake. Which, by the way, I'm really bummed, to be honest with you, that we never got Jaws 19 like they predicted in that movie, because I would have loved to have seen Jaws 19 directed by Steven's own son, Max. I would have loved to have seen it, actually, because this time it's really, really, really personal.
That's right.
So, here's another funny story. I tried watching Jaws the Revenge, which is Jaws 4, in case anyone's wondering. And I got 10-15 minutes into it, Martin. It was so bad, unbearably bad. I had to hit the stop button. I said, nope, this is a no for me, dog. Not doing it, because I watched Jaws 1, 2, and 3, and I enjoy 1, 2, and 3 for different reasons, by the way.
Sure, absolutely.
But Jaws the Revenge, first of all, the shark attacking the kid in the dead of winter when it's like Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
On the shore.
Up in the Northeast.
Yeah, and in the Northeast where nothing's got, there's no snow in the water. It's just like, how is the shark? How is this even possible? I'm sorry. Yeah. I can only suspend my disbelief so much. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's a part of the business. So business was not very, very good.
No, that movie only gets worse as you go. It just gets worse and worse and worse.
Just, what do they call it? They call it a dumpster fire. Yeah. I think in the business. Have you heard that expression before?
Oh, yeah.
It's pathetic.
Yeah,
if I could see that shark right now, I would give it a stone cold stunner. If not a rock bottom, or maybe, yeah. Oh, you have one of those?
Yeah. My emotional support dumpster fire.
Dude.
Sorry. Yeah. It's one of my readers gave it to me.
I'm fine. Everything is fine.
That's right.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, I cherish it. It's on my computer table where I work.
Oh, I got to get me one of those. That sounds like fun. Maybe I should get one of those. Put those on my desk here on set. Yeah, goodness. Dumpster fire. Oh boy. Oh, heavens almighty. So looking ahead to 2026, this bad boy right here, what this kind of reminds me of Aliens, or a little bit of Shrek being on the bridge, and this character in the silhouette here is about to say, "Get away from her, you bitch."
That's right.
So, what exactly is this, and how did this come about?
So, Whispers of the Sower. I don't even know how it came about. And that sounds really strange. But I had a handful of scenes in my head that were dreams borderline nightmares. And I then started to build characters around those dreams, who was having the dream. And I can't even explain how I came up with this story, but I had those dreams that were pre-written, and then I had some character concepts built around those dreams and why they're having this particular dream. The book literally starts with a nightmare. A character is he's dreaming about the last time he saw his mom, and it's very surreal because he knows it's not real, it can't be real. And then his mom dies in the dream. She has a heart attack, which is how she died, but he wasn't there. So he's carrying this deep-seated trauma, this guilt from that, that he left and she had a heart attack, and he's a doctor. He's a medical doctor. So part of him believes that he could have saved her. And so I had all that going for me, but it came to me, the idea of, if someone could really understand what makes us tick individually, and what our weak points are, and what our trauma or guilt is if we have it, they could use that for very nefarious things. And so this is a science fiction novel, and it starts off it starts off on a space station, and there's six really main characters, 2 or 3 that are the most important. But anyway, a team is gathered because they need to go to a mining colony, because the mining colony is well under production, and they got a strange message from the colony doctor that was there, that was hidden in the cargo of the ship that came from that colony with the last load of minerals. And so they put this team together to figure out what's going on. There's a project manager for the mining company. She's in charge. She's very in charge and very boss lady. And she she takes this team to the planet to find out what's going on. And it's science fiction, but it's also horror. And this, let me slow myself down here. I wrote this not entirely knowing for the first act of the book exactly how it was going to go. And then once I kind of finished the first act, it's a very 3-act novel. Act 1 is the hey, we got problems to solve, let's get everybody together and go solve it. Act 2 is the something's not right here, and then Act 3 is, oh shit, pardon the language. But it's I've had a few people that have read it, ARC readers, and that quote you see at the top of that release banner is what one of my readers said. He said that this is your love letter to Ridley Scott and H.P. Lovecraft. He said it's Alien meets Dreams in the Witch House. The book is very surreal. It's got real human characters that are carrying their own problems. They're broken in their own way, and they have a job to do, and they set that aside. But what if there's somebody out there that's trying to break through the armor that they put together, to bend it to their will? And that's what I'll say about it.
You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention. So yeah, you're getting better at this whole book marketing thing, man. I mean, I've barely scratched the surface, and you're just putting all of us, especially me, to shame, brother. But no, but I mean it in the best way possible. You're doing a
I
great
appreciate
job,
it.
and in the words of our good friend DJ Khaled, I appreciate you.
Yeah, that's right.
Just like that GIF that everyone posts on social. I don't know if you've seen it or not.
Oh yeah.
It's a good one, isn't it? There are some positive sides to social media. There are some funny.
There
There's
can
some
be.
funny sides to it. It's not
Yeah.
always light. You're right. There's a lot of dark corners of the interwebs. That's for sure. But
Yeah.
there could
Stay
be a
away
bright
from as
spot.
much of that as you can.
Yeah. Like I said, I mostly use it just for marketing the podcasts and the channel and getting our word, getting the word out about what I'm doing and the other things that are going on here on this wonderful, wonderful channel of ours known as Anti-Quote Channel. Hello there. Don't forget to like and share. If you have any questions, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Where do you see independent writing and publishing going in the next 5 or 10 years? Do you think it's going to continue to grow or evolve, or you think indie authors and publishers are going to take over the world, just like Pinky and the Brain planned to do 35 years ago, or do you think it's going to decrease? What do you think?
That is a really complex question. When I first started indie publishing, my first book came out in 2011, and I sold a ton of copies of my books in those first few years. And the number of something that you noticed or noted, Ryan, is the number of indie authors that are out there. The beautiful thing to the internet and companies like the Zon and is they've given authors the ability to put their art out there, and we don't have to get picked up by a publisher, of which there's really only 5 publishers, the 5 big guys, and there's a whole ton of little presses. But we've got this really interesting dynamic with the publishing world right now. Traditional publishers aren't signing anybody. They don't want submissions. They don't want to see your work. They don't want any of that. If you have a good agent, which is very hard to land, but if you have a good agent, you've got a shot maybe. But what the traditional publishers are doing is they're looking for the indie books that go viral, and then they're going and signing those people. They're letting the indie authors do all the work for them, if that makes sense. Because if someone actually strikes gold, then we got to sign that author, and that's going to continue. Indie authors are facing some major uphill climbs right now, and one of them is the sheer amount of indie work in the market. And it's it creates a lot of I don't want to use the word, but it's the only word that's coming to me right now. It creates a lot of noise. Maybe another way to put it is there's so much selection, people just don't know what to go for. And that's going to continue to be a struggle for indie authors trying to sell books, trying to get people to buy their books, is that there's so many options, there's so much stuff to choose from. And I'm not saying there shouldn't be, because I've got tons of that stuff on my shelf. Indie authors, I love buying indie author books, because there's so many of them are such great creative stories. But that I think is going to be the biggest challenge for indies. I don't think the field is going to get any smaller. I think there's going to be more and more. And then we've got the whole AI problem, that is a whole different issue. And the AI problem is going to continue to be a problem as time goes on here. Eventually it'll reach a critical mass where I think it falls apart and goes the other way. But for the time being, that's going to be a big challenge for us, as well as people out there using AI, which really isn't artificial intelligence, but generative AI to write their own stuff and put it out there and continue to dilute the pool, but with products that really aren't true art, stuff that people who are putting the work in shouldn't have to compete with, and yet they're going to. And that's a sad state of affairs. But we'll get past it eventually. It's going to take 3 to 5 years, I think. I think it's going to get more before there's going to be more of it before it goes away.
Yeah, it's just going to continue. I think it's going to continue to grow and evolve and get bigger, faster, stronger, and going to be like the Energizer Bunny,
Yeah.
Just keeps on going and going and going and going.
Yeah.
So there you go. This PSA brought to you by 2 indie authors. We're
That's
everywhere.
right.
Get used to it. They're they're everywhere. They're on to me. Something to that effect. Well, I do want to take this opportunity to say thank you so much to
Oh,
Martin
yeah.
Parise for being here on this week's episode of Antiquette. Martin, congratulations to you and everything you've published thus far and everything you're
Thank
going to publish in 2026. I mean, heck, we're not even in 2026 yet, and you already got Whispers of the Sower coming our way in January. I'm like, oh my gosh, you're not wasting any time, brother.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm not. I've got that, and I've got the third Dragon Knight book that's called The Oathbreaker's Reckoning. That'll be out in the fall, probably right around September. And then I've got so many titles and projects that I have to get working on in addition to that stuff. So it's I'm really excited by what I'm producing, the stories I'm making, and the quality, and where I've grown as a writer. I'm really excited by what I'm doing. I really am.
Man, just like our uncle taught us 23 years ago, with great power comes great responsibility.
That's
Mark.
right.
Great responsibility. But you're taking it on, man. You're taking it on. You're taking it and run with it. And I gotta tell you, you're so money, Martin. You're so money. You just don't even know it. You're like a big bear, man. You know,
Thank you.
I'm telling you, you're money. So with that being said, if someone wants to know more about you, purchase copies of your books, where is the best place to follow you on social media? I also heard a rumor that you started up a brand new Facebook group. So go ahead and plug that while you're at it.
Absolutely. So the Facebook group is called the Indie Creator Exchange, and I'm going to tell you a quick story. I'm going to try and keep it short, but
Sure.
I did a convention in August called Crash City Con in Roanoke, Virginia, and it's a gaming convention. But I was there as an author, and there were a bunch of people there, and it was held in a hotel. And day one ended. It was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday deal, and day one ended, and I was literally walking out to head to my dad's place where we were crashing, and one of the owners of the convention walked in, and this is at 8:01 p.m. and said, "Hey guys, the convention's canceled. Hotel pulled some BS, and we all have to move out. We got to be out by midnight." And that was a hard thing. Now, I actually did okay on day one of the convention. I basically made table, which very rarely happens. But there were a lot of other people there that didn't, and there were a lot of people that were really upset. People that come from out of town, had hotels, all sorts of stuff, spent a lot of money to be there. And I was inspired by an author who's not indie, trad published, named Lydia Scherer. She was there, and she reached out to everybody after the show and said, "I'm going to send a newsletter. Anyone who wants to be in it, send me your info." And she sent that out to her newsletter. She's trad published, so she has a lot of people. And some people went to my website and they bought my books, and that was a really wonderful thing. And then there was Nightmare Weekend Richmond in October, and it was not a good show. Attendance was way off. Nobody knows why. Nobody there made any money. Most people didn't cover their expenses. I know people that came down and had hotels for 3 days, plus their table cost, and just lost a ton of money. And I spent the last 2 hours of the show walking around handing out 3D printed tiny little skulls. They were like this big. They were black or glow in the dark. And I was just walking around to all the different vendors, just handing them out. And it made a lot of people who were on the verge of tears smile. And I really enjoyed that. And so I started up this Facebook group, the Indie Creator Exchange, where we can come together, and we're very small right now. I will market it at every con I do and show moving forward. But it's a place for independent authors, artists, musicians, voice actors, you name it, to come together and talk about what they're doing and to support each other. And because we're all in this together, we're all trying to do the same thing. We're all trying to get to the same place. And I think that support system is important because this is a hard gig. You know that. So, and then as far as my books are concerned, let me adjust here. You can get all my books on Amazon, of course. You can buy them for you can get them for the Kindle. You can buy paperbacks and hardcovers on Amazon. What I would really prefer is that if you want a paperback or hardcover, if you don't track me down at a show or a con, go to my website which is just martinparise.com. And you can you can see everything that's going on. You can see a page with all my books on it. You can sign up for my newsletter. There's a landing page to track me down. I am on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Threads, I'm on Blue Sky, I'm on Twitter, I'm on YouTube, I'm on TikTok. You can find me everywhere, just by searching my name, because there's only 2 of us in the whole world, literally. But if you really want to support me, if you want to check out my books, go to my shop through my website. You can buy signed copies there, paperback or hardcover. They're the same price as they are on Amazon. There is a shipping charge, unfortunately, but you're getting a signed copy. And I have a 20% off coupon savings code. It's just save20 in all caps. I've got that running through the 5th of January. I've got it running through the holidays, so that'll lead up most of that shipping cost. So that if you really want to do it, that'd be the place I'd love to see you go.
More phenomenal, man. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And we took the liberty of posting the link to the Indie Creator Exchange Facebook group in the comments of this video.
Sweet.
Which is on our Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch feeds. It is there. So click on that link that's in the comments section down below, and all that kind of jazziness. So yeah, it's a lot of good stuff. And by the way, what is? Oh, Pink Cashmere just joined us. She says, "Is your in-person schedule on your on my website too?" I wish I were that popular to the point where I had to list all the appearances I'm going to be making in the future. Pink Cashmere, as well as I'm sure Martin's wondering the same thing. Wait a minute, you have appearances? What's going on? No, listen, Martin. I'm just a simple man trying to make his way in the universe. That's really all I'm doing.
I get it.
There's a reference for you. Cha-ching. But I will let you know, Martin, and for those of you who are watching or listening to this right now, just to answer the question a little bit further, I am going to be appearing at Ocean City Comic-Con, which is going to be held in Ocean City, Maryland, December 13th and the 14th at the Roland E. Powell Convention Center. For this holiday season, right before the Christmas holiday kicks, really begins, you're going to have a chance to meet some wonderful guests, some writers and artists are going to be tabling there, and you're going to get those last-minute holiday gifts for that special someone in your life. Maybe a friend, a family member, coworker, a significant other, so to speak. So check out oceancitycomiccon.com. Buy your tickets. If you show up in cosplay or you have a canned good to donate to the charity that Ocean City Comic Con is partnering with, you get $1 off your admission at the door. But that's only for at-the-door admission only, because they won't know if you're going to be showing up in cosplay or bringing that item or not if you buy it on their social media sites, online. So it's going to be a great event. I'm excited to go. I'm excited to see everybody and do one of the biggest things in the world that we do there, which in this case is networking. Networking is very, very good to me. Very, very important. Very, very important. Remember to breathe. Remember to breathe. Wax on, wax off. Show me, sand the floor. All that. I'm sorry, Martin.
Paint the fence.
Exactly. I know. Show me, paint the fence. Hey.
That's right.
Look, I always look, I.
Oh, that's a good impression.
Thank you. I've been practicing the last couple of years, which shows you how pathetic my life is. But no, that's the next convention I'm going to be appearing at. So in case anyone's in the Ocean City, Maryland area, come down and see us. James is the gentleman who puts on that show every year with a great team of people working with him behind the scenes, because it takes a village to make things work, folks. Remember that. It takes a village. But join us. And who knows, maybe next year at Ocean City Comic Con, Martin's going to have a table down there selling all 6,000 of his books.
It's a possibility. I haven't really nailed down my schedule yet. I've got I have a local book signing here. I'm in Richmond, Virginia, and I have a local book signing here in 2 weekends from now. And then I have a convention in Williamsburg, Virginia called MarsCon. That's in January. MarsCon's a cool one. It's very fantasy sci-fi.
Ooh. And so they call it Mars.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. And then I've got of course I'm going to be at GalaxyCon Richmond in March. That's a big one for me.
That's the big dog right there, isn't it?
It is. And then I've got a bunch of other stuff that I haven't heard back on yet. Literally I personally try to go to one show a month.
Wow.
I somehow managed to get the time off my day job to get that done. It's
I was
a
going to say
lot.
more power to you, I suppose, right?
Yeah.
Is that the correct wording there? I'm just curious because I'm not trying to disrespect anybody here, but no, that's cool. Does the name Pat Kenrick of Immortal Art mean anything to you in GalaxyCon Richmond? Because he tables there every year. He does watercolor art.
I probably have seen him, but I don't know that I've had a lot of direct interaction with him.
All right, I'll send you his link in the behind the scenes here. I'll share it with you
Cool.
here soon. I'll let you take a look at his work, and maybe it'll jog your memory. I'm not sure.
I got you.
I know it's a big place, and there's a lot of people there in the vendors hall of GalaxyCon Richmond. I've been there.
Oh yeah,
It can be
it's
very
big.
busy, very hectic. Lots of people roaming around. Lots of foot traffic. So beware. Also, make sure you're wearing comfortable shoes.
Oh yeah, because it is a concrete floor and it is a big place. There's a lot to look at.
Yeah, there is. Have you ever been to AwesomeCon in DC? Those are concrete floors too. Those are, man, if you're not wearing comfortable shoes, you are dead in the water, man.
Yeah, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. After about 3 hours, and heaven forbid you stand in a line for anything. Oh, that's terrible.
Well, this past year, my buddy Jeff and I were there at AwesomeCon in DC, and we, waited a good while for John Rhys Davies and the very beautiful, rare appearance of Liv Tyler.
Oh wow,
Was in the building, and we actually had, I had a conversation with her.
that's awesome.
Oh yeah, I didn't propose to her though, but that's my only regret. Because I've had a crush on her. I mean, granted, she was great in Lord of the Rings. There is no doubt. There is no doubt in my mind. That bridge scene in Fellowship, man, I was like, okay, that's true love right there. I would marry this woman in a heartbeat. I honestly. Anyway, sorry, not to get on a soapbox there, but anyway, I walked up to her at her booth. My friend and I were there. He was getting his, I think it was a Lord of the Rings poster signed, featuring her character, Arwen, if I'm not mistaken.
Arwen, yep.
Yeah, Arwen, thank you. Yeah, and I said to Liv, Liv, it's great to see you. Wonderful to see you. Wonderful to meet you. I just want to let you know that I really, really like The Incredible Hulk. I think it's a criminally underrated movie. No, it is. I was being serious. I wasn't just saying this to, get brownie points here. No, I was being legit. I said, look, I think The Incredible Hulk is a really good movie. It is underrated when it comes to comic-based films. I just want to say I really enjoy it. Your performance as Betty Ross, very good stuff. I want to say congratulations. Thank you so much. And she said, "Oh, thank you." Because no one really tells me much about that movie. I don't hear that very often.
Yeah, no, and with Liv, I go back to Empire Records.
Yeah. I just saw that not too long ago for the very first time.
Oh yeah.
I did. Yeah.
That's an old one.
And Robin Tunney shaved her head for that movie. Good Lord.
Oh yeah.
And she was better known as Lisbon on The Mentalist with what was his name? Simon Baker. That's it.
That's
Simon
right.
Baker. Remember him, The Mentalist? Oh yeah. Patrick Jane doing this, just waving his hand around. Who killed him? But yeah, no. Robin Tunney was good in that, but Liv Tyler, I was like, you were in this?
Oh yeah.
Like, I just mind-boggling to me,
Oh,
but
yeah.
Liv Tyler, you're beautiful, you're wonderful. I'm looking at you sometimes, I can't even remember my name. But with that being said, yes, the link to the Indie Creator Exchange, I'm so sorry, is featured in the comment section of this video. So make sure everybody checks that out. Join it, support each other, lift each other up, build each other up, not tear each other down. Keep that in mind as we go through this. And yes, I took the liberty of inviting even more of my independent creators to join your page there.
I love it. I love it.
I actually sent some invites just moments ago as you and I were talking. So multitasking. Yeah, I'm multitasking for you, brother. I want to help you out as best I can. That's what we do around here. But thank you again for being here, Martin. Stick around for you to grab some wonderful treats and non-existent drinks in our backstage green room area. You see it. It's right over there on your left-hand side. Where my point is it left or is it right? No, anyway, camera's reversed. My name is Ryan of Van Dyke Quote Channel. I think I'm losing my marbles here, Martin. I apologize. But my name is Ryan of Van Dyke Quote Channel. You can follow me across all forms of social media at Van Dyke Quote Channel. Thank you so much for being a part of this episode. We cannot do this without you. We are very, very close to hitting the magic number of 1,800, but we are on the road to 5,000. And once we do, we'll have a live stream that will include special giveaways that you, the person who's watching or listening to this program right now, are going to be eligible to win. Also, the seasons are changing. We got hoodies, we have shirts, we have long sleeve shirts, we have stickers you can add to your water bottles and coffee mugs extraordinaires in our Redbubble store, which is located in the Linktree link in the description below, or it's in our social media, bios as well. I have a short story that got published earlier this year. It's called Wolf of the West. Yeah. So if you're in the mood for a good old-fashioned Western, check out Western Tales Volume 1, published by our good friends over there at Veritas Entertainment. Go to veritasent.com storyteller.com. Find out more about them and their plans for 2026 and beyond in the men's adventure fiction genre and subgenres of men's adventure fiction. And yes, there have been a number of discussions about fantasy, sword and sorcery, Robert E. Howard, Solomon Kane. What's another one? Jack Carr. Many other writers have been mentioned in that thing. So join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. And as I said before, December 13th and 14th, I will be appearing at Ocean City Comic-Con, hanging out with all the wonderful vendors and talking with some wonderful guests. Get your tickets now at oceancitycomiccon.com. See, I said it the right way. I did. Sometimes I do things correctly. With that being said, thank you so much for joining us. Do not forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, ring the bell to be notified of when the videos go up or they go live. And I quotes on Saturdays, 12 p.m. Eastern. Movie watch-alongs and other pop culture-related discussions are on Friday nights at 7 p.m. Eastern. And remember, life is better when supporting creators from all over the world. Take a look.
You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasmafire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
There it is. Luckily for you, you won't have to go through half of what I went through to get your copy. All you have to do is place an order. Treasure is My Trade is out now. Don't miss your chance.
Good morning! Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.